I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
It's not college basketball. It's Clarence time! Let's get ready to rumble! Feel the fires into the red. It's mice that only know how to wear.
What is up, Friday Nighters? Welcome back to another episode of Just Another Friday Night. I am one of your two hosts, CM Chuck, and I'm by myself today. I don't have Double A with me. He is doing dad stuff as dads do. Cannot no right or wrong there. That's totally okay. But we always miss him when he's not here. Not a show without Double A. So, but I didn't want to take another week off, so I wanted to make sure and brought you guys some cool content. And I did watch something this week, so that's what I was going to talk about tonight. So, spoiler alerts, if you guys read the title, you already know. I'm kind of trying to do this on two fronts again, like we did last week. I'm on TikTok live on one screen, and I'm here with you guys on YouTube and on Facebook Live as well. I'm trying to figure out how to merge this thing all into one on like StreamYard, but it's been kind of difficult. So, I'm older and not as tech savvy, so it becomes kind of difficult. But I appreciate you guys being with me. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me okay? Do I sound okay? Is there something I can do to adjust that would help out the situation? I would appreciate it. That goes for the TikTok audience and the audience here as well. Real quick, let's hit up some comments. As you know, we guys do. We'd like to see who's in the chat with us. We got KB joining us via YouTube. KB, we appreciate you being here, bud. As always, I would say keep your eye on the mail. Keep your eye on the mail in the next few days. Pedro Lopez, always with the sexy ladies in the corner there. Pedro, who do we got? Who is this flavor of the week? Let me know. Appreciate you being here, bud. Toy Mafia, usually first out the gate. Got a little bit, someone got ahead of him today. But that's okay. We appreciate you guys being here. Also, Toy Mafia, always. And he says, sound fine on YouTube. Thank you, Pedro. I appreciate that. That's a lot. Means a lot to me. Now, unfortunately, I can't do this cool feature that I do on TikTok. I don't think I can, that I do on YouTube, which is to bring up the comments on the screen or whatever. So if you're watching via YouTube or Facebook, you'll see that, but if you're watching us via TikTok, you won't. So I want to say real quick, what's up to Nikki Boy, to Tabitha, and we appreciate you guys being here, also joining us via the live. So just a little bit of background for those that don't know. We are a pop culture podcast from San Antonio, Texas. We've been doing this for about 5 years now, over 200 episodes. You can go back and listen to either on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts, or you can watch it on YouTube. Now, not all of our episodes are on YouTube because we originally started as just kind of an audio podcast, and we kind of went through the motions of turning it over into a video thing, and then we teamed up with the Collecting Weekly guys, the great guys over at Collecting Weekly, to kind of bring you part of their stream on Friday nights. And real quick here, Toy Mafia says sounds okay, so I appreciate that. Toy Mafia, thank you for letting me know. And then KB says, I have not watched Zombies yet, but I don't mind spoilers for this one, unless you say it's super good and worth the watch. I'm not going to say that, KB, out the gate. I'm not going to say that. I have kind of some strong feelings about it. And the way we do things here on Just Another Friday Night is that, like, it's something we don't love. We don't really like to cover it because there's enough. Some podcasts will cover everything, right? And even whether they love or hate it. And when they're out there doing that, they, end up kind of shitting on a lot of the things that are out there. So, you don't need one more negative podcast. You can definitely get that just about anywhere. So we try to cover things that we really loved, that we enjoyed and wanted to talk about. Now, is this one of the things that I really loved? No, but I did watch it this week, and I'm running solo tonight, so I was like, well, I wanted to give you guys a topic instead of sometimes when I'm by myself, I'll just do like a free form and kind of talk with you guys. But I did watch this. Double A hadn't had a chance yet. I mean, and if he does and he loves it, I mean, there's always a chance to revisit. And I was going to have CM Cal here with me because he watched it with me, and he had strong opinions about it right out the gate. So I was hoping to get some people in here that had watched it because I could get their opinions on it. Maybe there's something that I missed. And let me know, guys, if I'm glitching a little bit at the bottom there. I kind of see a little glitch, but I don't know. I'm trying not to move around too much because I know it tends to glitch more when you do that. Let's see. So if you're on TikTok, guys, I encourage you to share this live. I would appreciate it. Looks like Jeremy joined. Jeremy, we appreciate you being here too, bud. All the listeners from all the places. And again, if you don't know, if you join us on Friday night, that automatically makes you one of the Friday nighters, one of the Friday night faithful. That's what we like to call our listeners. And Friday Nighter KB, he expressed some interest in some things last week, and so I wanted to bring him that. But again, real quick to finish reiterating about who we are. We are San Antonio and South Texas, what we like to say, premier pop culture podcast that's live on Friday, most Fridays, with pee breaks that are also live. They usually do happen. So we're normally having a couple of alcoholic beverages, Double A and I. So not tonight, as I'm by myself. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you are, hey, pour it up, drink it up, man. You know what I mean? We encourage you to enjoy your weekend, to have a fun Friday, fun kickoff to the end of the work week, but responsibly. So always do that. But real quick, I wanted to show you guys some cool things. First, I want to show this awesome sticker from my lady. She got me this for my birthday, which was mid last month. But if you guys know who this is, Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter from the Hannibal Show. If you guys have not seen the Hannibal Show, man, that is must watch. And that's one of those shows that's like, there's a bunch of shows that I want to talk about that like Double A hasn't seen or someone else hasn't seen. So I'm really going to try to work on getting some other guests, that have seen things so that we can talk about that. Like things like Severance, things like Ted Lasso, things like, The Bear, the Hannibal Show. These are all things that I would love to discuss on the show at a later time. Superman and Lois was a fantastic show that finished. You know what I mean? People all up on Superman right now. David Cornsweet, the James Gunn version, which is fantastic. But I highly recommend the CW Superman and Lois show. Tyler Hoechlin is an amazing Clark Kent, an amazing Superman, an amazing super dad too. So a different kind of take on the Superman character if you haven't seen it. And Elizabeth Bitsy Tulloch is a great Lois Lane, one of the best Loises I think that's been out there. So definitely worth checking it out. Okay, B quickly says it's Grindelwald. And there you go. Yeah, Grindelwald. Yeah, the new Grindelwald, right? The replacement Grindelwald. You know what I mean? I think Mads would have been a great Dr. Doom too. He's somebody that I could have seen, definitely, pulling that off. But in his stead, I recently, Rufus Sewell. Do you guys know Rufus Sewell? He was in the movie Old. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Just look him up. Rufus Sewell. Man, I saw him in Old recently, and I was like, this guy, given the age that they've got Pedro Pascal, would have been a great Dr. Doom also. You know what I mean? Of course, I know, you can't go wrong with RDJ, but I also feel like they're kind of baiting the hook there with us. It's going to be a bait and switch on the RDJ thing, but we'll see what happens, right? But real quick, I wanted to show you guys some cool stuff we got in. So first off is we got magnets. So podcast magnets. So I know it looks blue, right? Which is cool, but actually this is just a film that comes on it. It's a protective film so it doesn't scratch. But this is a design I co-designed with our friend Justin Martin, GraphX Plus. Justin's constantly creating and doing things. But he just peeled that off. So if you get one of these and you peel that off, look at how cool that looks, right? A play on one of our favorite movies, Just the Friday Night Fight Club. It's got the website at the bottom. And then, of course, the movie Mischief Mayhem Soap is what their poster says, but ours says Mischief Mayhem and Podcast. So very cool. A very easy, very fun coaster. Right? You get a coaster, you get put your drink under it, you know what I mean? But if you got a phone with you and you can scan it and you can hit our QR code, takes you to our link tree where all of our links are, and you can Follow us on all the things. I highly recommend it. That's the website there. I would appreciate you guys giving us a like, follow, share on whatever platform you prefer whatever you love. But if you want to really get into the mix of the conversation with us, then there's no better place to do it than being a Friday night or joining the Friday Night Faithful Facebook group. I know Facebook kind of outdated, right? Nobody's on there anymore. Everyone's on Discord or something else, but we use Facebook for our Facebook group. Discord, I would hate to ignore it, so I would hate to create a group and then not be in there enough. But I will leave that for some of my collaborators, and maybe my nephew CM Cal, maybe that's something that he would get into. I'll let him run the Discord, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. And again, if you don't know, we are usually at JAFN podcast on all the things, so please go check us out there. And of course, we are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, and we don't post a whole bunch. We don't blow up your feed. I mean, like, you might say, hey, well, I want a lot of content. Well, there's a lot of old content out there, so you can definitely get content. The content is there for you to explore. And of course, the more interest we see, then the more we're going to work on providing, even more content. So those are some cool things, right, that I had got made up recently. So we'll try to get some of those out around to the people. As you guys always know, the iconic logo, the Just Another Friday Night logo with, the stickers here. So, if you need something, you know what I mean? Let me know. Shoot us a DM. I know sometimes I'm bad about responding and answering, but I promise you, I'll go to the post office this weekend. You know what I mean? So let me know. Shoot me a message. Look at this one. This is a fun one I got created here. Again, we are in South Texas. We are from San Antonio. We're huge Spurs fans. We wanted something that kind of reflected our it says on TikTok, it says it's redirecting users to purchase products outside of TikTok. Adjust your content to avoid live visibility restrictions. Okay, sorry guys. I was just showing you guys some of our cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like, dang, take it easy, TikTok. You know what I mean? Lay off, right? You know what I mean? But before I go, I will show you a bumper sticker, which is cool. You know what I mean? So like, you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like I said, so. But you guys, I appreciate you being here. Before we talk about Marvel Zombies, I want to talk about some other things that you guys want to talk about. What are some things that you saw? Obviously, people have been telling about Alien Earth. I haven't caught up yet. And I know I mentioned this even last week, haven't seen Wednesday. This is one of our most favorite times of the year, me and Double A. We love October. We love what people call spooky season. We love, this time of year. Real quick comment here from YouTube. Rufus, KB says, the dude from Werewolf by Night, Rufus Sewell. I do not think, yes. Was he in Werewolf by Night? Man, I don't know. I'd have to go look him up. I don't have it right here. I can pull up IMDb. But yeah, he might have been in that. I saw Werewolf by Night. I liked it, but I haven't had a chance to revisit. See, look at the light here. And here's some breaking news. Diddy sentenced to 4 years in prison. Jeez. I mean, is that it? You know what I mean? So it's a kind of a light sentence now. Someone else tell me. I don't know if did he deserve more time. Let me check real quick for you, KB, because I think that's interesting. If he was in that, I don't remember him. He might already be part of the Marvel universe. Then I can't have him as my Dr. Doom. He's just got those striking green eyes, and he's kind of got that accent. You know what I mean? So I definitely think he could be, one of these people. So let me see here. It says he was in The Man in the High Castle. On IMDb, it says he was in, let's see what else here. Let me see. They mainly talk about, it says known for A Knight's Tale. Yeah, I do think I remember him in that. The Illusionist, great movie, man. I like that. Dark City, that I haven't seen that one in forever. That is a flick. So he comes out in The Sandman, which we definitely want to talk about that. We're behind on Sandman. We did see, let me see. The Marvelous Miss Maisel, obviously our Lois Lane comes from there, so he was in that. I'm trying to see if I can get back to it. No, I think that I don't know what year. What did we talk about there? The Werewolf by Night came out. Let me check. I'm wondering who you're thinking of, KB. You got me kind of wondering now too. We don't want any overlap in our Marvel universe, right? I mean, even though we're getting Robert Downey Jr. back as Dr. Doom, because I guess there were no other actors in Hollywood. Or again, I think it's a bait and switch. I've been saying that for a while. I think they want to give us that another story there. Pedro Lopez with probably a hot take here. Justice for Diddy. It didn't even let me bring that comment up, Pedro. I don't know. So interesting. But what are you guys doing to get into the mood for spooky season? Are you doing something to get into the mood for Halloween? Do you like October? Are you Halloween people? I love it. You know what I mean? That's, this is like, I mean, it really does rival Christmas for me. You know what I mean? I'm all about that. So talkers, looks like I kind of dropped out there of my YouTube feed, and I'm trying to pump back in. If you guys out there, can you let me know how I'm doing? Am I surviving? Am I thriving? I know the mic kind of cut out. It said here, it told me that. So we're trying to keep it going. Werewolf by Night. Okay, that guy kind of looks like him. I think you're talking about maybe the main actor. That guy's name is Gail Garcia Bernal. Maybe you, I don't know if there was there like a primary villain in that. I don't think. Yeah, you must mean him, but no, that's not the same guy. The guy that played Jack Russell, I guess, is the guy that turns into the werewolf. But yeah, no, two different guys there, KB. But yeah, good pull there. That guy is good. I like that. I like that guy. But yeah, look up Rufus Sewell. He's 57, I mean, which is old, but he's like about 10 years younger than Pedro Pascal. If we're going is doomed from that universe, you know what I'm saying? So how do you do that? But yeah, let's see. KB says today the Ed Gein story came out on Netflix. Definitely going to watch that. Yeah, I'll check that out. Is that a movie, KB, or like a documentary? True crime stuff. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? I mean, like Ed Gein, definitely one of the most diabolical you know SKs in history, right? I mean, I believe some of the Chainsaw Massacre inspiration to Leatherface comes from him. There's just a lot there, right? So it definitely sounds like something interesting to watch. KB says, yeah, Gail Garcia Bernal is the actor from Old. They're both. I'm talking about the guy there. You're right. I just realized that Gail Garcia Bernal is the dad of the main family, but Rufus Sewell is the doctor that's there with like his like hot young wife, the pretty blonde, and then he kind of starts to unravel because he's got dementia or whatever. So unless you're talking about the other guy. Yeah, I'm talking about another guy. So you're there. Ed Gein is a show, same format as Dahmer. Okay, so they've got someone playing Ed Gein, and it's going to kind of go through the paces of his atrocities. Who plays Ed Gein? KB, give me a heads up. Let me check TikTok real quick. No one really commenting, but people are here. Heroes Hangout, thank you for being here. Whatever, thank you for being here. Leandro Martinez, thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys joining us via TikTok. I encourage you to share this. Again, we're trying to get our pump our numbers up on TikTok so we can move to being a regular live show. Brandon just joined. Thank you, Brandon. Tabitha says, you are good. Thank you, Tabitha, for letting me know. Again, always worried about sound quality. And I feel like the picture on TikTok looks kind of grainy. So I don't know how to fix that yet, but I'm going to work on it and fix that for you. I have a sharper camera that's on YouTube, but for whatever reason it doesn't pick it up. So and KB says the main actor from Sons of Anarchy is going to be Ed. So Charlie Hunnam. Wow, that's interesting. What a choice there, right? Because he's kind of studly, and I never really envisioned Ed Gein as that way. But he's not one of the ones that I hear people talk about when it comes to SKs. It's kind of classically being like, people talk about Bundy being, he was handsome and charming, and Dahmer too. They say he was like handsome and charming. And obviously, Evan Peters, good looking guy that played, him in that one. So I actually haven't finished that one. I watched the first episode. Sometimes that stuff can be kind of intense for me, where it's like, man, this is like, crazy. You know what I mean? Tabitha says phone screens are small, quality is good enough. Okay, well, I appreciate that, Tab. Thank you. Pedro Lopez says, I'm a Halloween guy. Went and saw The Strangers 2 a few days back and got my black phone cup from Cinemark. Best cup in years. High quality, actual high quality. What is the cup, Pedro? Is it something? I just saw that Tron Ares little arcade bucket, and man, I'm not a big Tron guy, but that's like a cool looking bucket. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely a guy that buys buckets and stuff like that. I really get it that theaters have kind of, where do you go, right? It's like people aren't going to the movies, people are staying home, they don't want to go out, this and that. It saves money, all this. So they're like, man, well, let's hit up the audience that loves this stuff, right? Loves these properties and are usually collectors, right? So we throw out some Jaws stuff, we throw out some Alien stuff, we throw out some, Superman stuff. Okay, well, you're like, damn it, now I got to go into the theater just for that. Well, I'm here. Yeah, sometimes you buy it and you leave, but you're like, well, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, I smell the popcorn, you get the old feelings, and it's like, hey, theaters. My very first job ever in life was as a movie theater, and I learned that theaters live off their concessions. I mean, without that, they're kind of struggling. So they don't really make a bunch of money off the tickets. You know what I mean? So that's where their bread and butter. And so with people not going into the theaters, well, you don't have your concession budget rolling in. So, that's tough, right? You know what I mean? So, well, what's the next thing, right? Add something collectible for people, desirable for them to want to come in and get. And I mean, I think it may be working for them, to keep them afloat. So that's cool. How was Strangers 2, Pedro Lopez? I saw part 1. It's been a while. You know, I have mixed feelings about the horror genre. I mean, I love the classics, you know what I mean? But like some of the newer stuff, I just can't get that into, like the Smile movies. I mean, I did like the Conjurings, you know what I mean? I liked the Nun. I liked Immaculate, you know what I mean? Like there were some newer things that I liked, but I'll always go, back to kind of like the Universal monsters, those classics. And then of course the early, the big slashers, like, Leatherface, Freddy Krueger, you know what I mean? Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, those are like always classics. So I do enjoy those. I'm always on the hunt for the next fun genre that's gonna pop up. I mean, like, look what happened with Ghostface. I've seen Ghostface's inception since he first came out, you know what I mean? And so for me, like the original Scream to now, it's like, wow, this guy is like huge, you know what I mean? He's one of the main, the main crew now, you know what I mean? Obviously Chucky, you know what I mean? Chucky 2. I mean, there's been so much done with that. Evil Dead, all these characters have just taken on a life of their own. So I love it, you know what I mean? I'm there for it, but yeah, and I'm always down to check something out. My significant other, she's a huge horror buff, so any chance we get, we try to catch something. So that's actually sounds pretty cool. KB says, sorry, I read that one already. He says, haven't seen Black Phone 1, so I got to get on that. Yeah, actually, we let my nephew watch it. He's 12, you know what I mean? And we were a little like worried. My sister was kind of like, we're always kind of like, do we let him watch it or whatever? Because he's a kid, you know what I mean? But hey, man, I watched that stuff when I was a kid, and it was like, what are you gonna do, right? But he really liked Black Phone, and we thought too, it kind of had a message, you know what I mean? Like, hey, like stay away from strangers, don't be by yourself, you know what I mean? So there's definitely, I think something there, whatever. It wasn't I didn't feel like there was like gore to it or whatever. I mean, it's no Terrifier, you know what I mean? So, I was like, he asks about that sometimes. And I'm like, Art the Clown. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? But Art the Clown, there's another one, right? That's like kind of new and in the mix. So, interesting. Pedro says Strangers 2 is okay. It's probably better to wait and see them all back to back because they're episodic. Okay. All right. Well, I can definitely do that. And, sometimes with stuff like that, I enjoy watching it at home, better because it's kind of a more creepy feel. Like when you're in your dark living room and you're watching it on your TV, I mean, not that a theater isn't, but sometimes when you're with other people on a horror movie, it kind of detracts from your thing, I like to see things on the big screen that are big, like Superman, you know what I mean? Like what's like Fantastic Four was like, this is like large. You got to like see it large or whatever. And like, you don't want to miss it that way. I mean, it can be equally good as home, but yeah. Where's everybody with Peacemaker? Are you guys caught up? Are you watching? It's been really, really good. I mean, I cannot say enough. Obviously, me and Double A covered last week the first like 6 episodes. We got 7 last night, which I watched. It was fantastic. I didn't want to get spoilers, so I made sure to watch it. And then we've got the finale next week, which I heard is going to be an hour. The episodes have been about 30 to 45 minutes, in that range. So an hour episode is going to be great. I feel like there's a lot to tie up. So very possibly could get a season 3, which would be great. John Cena's killing it. James Gunn killing it with that. And all the other actors in that show, they're fantastic. So, yeah, we can't wait for more, for the finale of Peacemaker. And obviously we'll cover that as well. CM Cal is here. He's joining us in the TikTok audience. CM Cal says, what up, CM Cal? We appreciate you being here. Also, let's see who else is here. Kuro Will Ichi, appreciate you being here as well, man. Are you guys fans of pop culture? Are you a fan of superheroes, Marvel, DC, Star Wars? And I mean, all the things. We try to cover them all weekly if we can. Again, we are Just Another Friday Night, a pop culture podcast based out of San Antonio, Texas. Again, with a lot of content for you to go back and check the the backlog, you know what I mean, so to speak. But what else? Was there anything else that kind of came out to you guys or struck you guys in the world of pop culture that stuck out to you that you want to discuss? Comic book wise, man, we saw this really cool comic book story, right? Let me pull it up for you guys real quick because I thought that it was neat, and I hate to be looking at my phone while I'm on with you guys, but it was a great story about something cool that Image Comics is doing, right? And I was thinking to myself, man, this maybe could be a whole episode that Double A and I could discuss. But let me tell you about it right here. It says this. Let's see here. It says, let me see here. Sorry, I don't want you guys to end up hearing my phone. Oh, where is it at here? And this was, I guess, the story was on Instagram. It says a new era begins for Image Comics. It says starting December 24th, 2025, so this year at the end, all new Image trade paperbacks and graphic novels will be exclusive to comic shops for 27 days before hitting bookstores, Amazon or digital. The new system turns supply chain challenges into a special early access window, making comic shops the only place fans can get new Image collections first. Well, this is huge news, and again, that comes courtesy of a CBR official page, comic book, whatever they're called. So thank you guys for that news. But I truly, 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 truly hope that Marvel and DC will follow suit to this. It's just 30 days. It's giving comic book shops a chance. It's for people that don't want to, you know, it's a struggling industry, right? I love comic book stores. I mean, I grew up in comic book stores. Comic book stores are like a rite of passage. I mean, I take my nephew to them. I see his face light up. I mean, it's really awesome. It's giving them 30 because we know we all want to order on Amazon. We all want to save a buck. You know what I mean? But man, look at Image again, kind of paving the way, innovating, and saying, hey, you want this book, you want this trade, this new Spawn story, this new Invincible story. When it gets collected, you got to go into the comic book store if you want it first. You know what I mean? Battle Beast is going on right now, right? They're going to collect that. How cool would it be to go in and check it out at the go get it at a comic book store first? And when you go in there, again, much like us, there's a huge backlog to enjoy, to see. Comic book stores have a certain smell, you know what I mean? Like if you're at a good one, the people are friendly. We've had our old comic book shop owner that we hung out with, that we loved visiting, Mario Delgado, on here before. We've had comic book guys like Gabe Flores on here before, but we've got our lots of good friends in the industry. You know what I mean? Rick from Rick's Comic Crypt, is one of our buddies. You know what I mean? Dale Ekman and Gary, you know what I mean, here in San Antonio, that deal in toys but also deal in comic books. You know what I mean? So very, very, it's a cool thing that I would hate to see go away, like the way of the arcade. I mean, the arcade has kind of gone away, and what are you going to do, right? I mean, it's like once they're gone, they're gone. You know what I mean? So it's really cool when people open them back up. But if this is something that will drive collectors into the comic book store, for a little while, I think that would be great. You know what I mean? So kudos to Image Comics for doing that. Tabitha agrees that's a great idea. So I mean, I say, tip of my hat, you know what I mean? My hat's off to Image. I hope that Marvel and DC will see this as, something for the fans and continue to do it. I would love to hear what our good friend Naz Rodriguez of the Casa Show thinks. He's a comic book show promoter, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think about that? I think it's pretty cool. Let's see here. Got a few more comments here from KB. Not seeing too much. Carl Tor, thank you for joining us on TikTok, man. Appreciate you being here. Again, apologies if quality is poor. Working on it, working on getting this thing going. This is only our kind of like second live on TikTok, so we're really working on it here. KB says Weapons was really good. Horror is making a comeback in the last few years. Okay, I've heard a lot about Weapons. I want to check it out. What I love about it, right, is that even though I've heard about the movie, I've yet to have any like spoilers or really know the particular plot points. So I'll be happy to just sit down and watch them. And that's one I wouldn't mind buying at home for like $9.99 or whatever, Pedro says Strangers 2 is okay. Okay, I missed out. I got that one earlier. He says, I'm behind on every show except for WWE. I get it. I've fallen behind too, Pedro. It's tough. But good that you're keeping up with your wrestling. You know what I mean? I haven't seen too much since the last time Cena, I guess, got squashed by Brock, which was like, I think a couple of weeks ago or whatever. And I'm just like, what's the point of having Cena on this epic outgoing run and then you just have him get squashed by Brock? It's like, okay, what are you going to do, right? I'm not doing the booking, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's still good to keep up with that. I know Cena will be having that last match, I think also in December is what has been said. So, we'll have to wait and see what that final match, I guess, is going to be. I don't know if they've announced it. KB says, I saw something about Superman and Spider-Man comic book coming out, and Marvel and DC are obviously teaming up for it. But I saw it on Facebook, so how credible they are. Actually, I heard that too several places, KB. So you're not the first one to say it, and I get what you're saying. It depends where you get your news from, how credible and credible it is. Thanks, Tap, for joining. We appreciate you being here. Have a good night also via TikTok. Yeah, I've heard that also, that they're going to re-release the old, the larger editions. I forget what they call them. Centennial, I don't know what they call it, the bigger like magazine style of the two. There were two classic Superman Spider-Man team ups. They're going to re-release those, and at the same time they're going to bring out some new stories, so that'll be fun. It's always nice when Marvel and DC team up, and especially when you bring your bigs, right? You bring, I always felt as though, and I've always said that they put Spider-Man and Superman together because they're the number ones in each of their respective places, although many people say like Batman. But back in the 70s, I think when they originally did it, it was Hulk and Batman that they put together, which I get it. At that time in the 70s, Hulk was probably like the number two guy, and Hulk's still great, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure how they would package that now, you know what I mean? But I know Batman and Deadpool is out there right now. That's I think a series that is either going on or was going on, and that's interesting to see. I saw some panels from that. People were saying, I guess, like Batman kind of saying that he was more annoyed by Deadpool than he was by the Joker, which is kind of hard to believe, but you know what I mean? I guess you got to give a little bit of credit where it's due. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if I'd pick that up. That might be something I read out of somebody else's collection. So Pedro says see weapons ASAP. So he agrees with you, KB. So you can't hide that. You know what I mean? I definitely want to check out weapons. That's something maybe I'll do this weekend. CM Cal says Def want to pick up Deadpool and Batman. So there's, right there. If CM Cal picks it up, then I'll happily read his copies. Again, if Marvel were to jump on what Image is doing and it was to come out in trade, we wouldn't see it until a month later if they were to follow the same method, which I think would be great for comic book shops. Tommy joined. What's up, Tommy? Appreciate you being here. It's nice to see you on live the other day. And thank you guys that are joining us via TikTok, the TikTok feed. But all right, guys, we've kind of talked about 30 minutes for, what is going on right now in the world of pop culture and the news and things that are streaming and what you're watching. If you have anything else you want to bring up, by all means, chime in at any time. But we're going to get into the topic for the night, right? Because I don't want to keep you guys here all night. And plus, this show was kind of short. So let's talk about that first, right? Marvel announces they're going to do this Marvel Zombies show, right, on Disney Plus. So, Marvel has been kind of in a way, I feel like floundering, right, with some of their things, right? But Zombies at one time, like in 05 to like 06, they had those great covers. Everyone was doing the Marvel Zombies. Now, I remember back then I thought it was dumb. I was like, zombies? Like, the zombie to me is like the lowest form of horror creature. You know what I mean? Like, I love vampires, werewolves. You know what I mean? Like a kind of Frankenstein monster, which I guess is in a sense a zombie, I guess. You know what I mean? But not really, because it's alive. The mummy, the creature, you know what I mean? Like, and then way down at the bottom, I'm like, a zombie, you know what I mean? Like, zombies always just seem kind of like lame, like dumb. They're only good, I guess, when they like hoard up. And then it's like, well, what are you going to do, right? You got to get away and natural resources. The Walking Dead really turned me into a believer when it came to zombies. I was like, okay, zombies can be pretty, they can be pretty, wild, you know what I mean? So zombies, and especially the way Greg Nicotero makes them look in The Walking Dead. I mean, that is by far the best looking zombie I've ever seen. We were watching something the other day, Return of the Living, whatever, and I was just like, this zombie looks kind of like shit. You know what I mean? I like the way the clickers look, like in The Last of Us, and not a zombie, but similar horde mentality. You know what I mean? So when Marvel did these comics way back when, I was like, how did like the greatest superheroes, the greatest fighters turn to zombies? How the hell do you turn Spider-Man to a zombie, right? I mean, the guy's got spider sense, right? He's there'd have to be a whole bunch of them. I mean, like, they're slow from what I've always known or whatever, and he, hit them in the brain and then they're done, right? You know what I mean? So I guess, like, I guess maybe they could get Spider-Man, right? I guess they could get Cap, but Iron Man is in a suit of iron, right? I mean, or whatever it's made out of. I mean, how are you going to get him? How do you get the Black Panther? Come on, Black Panther. I mean, like a true badass, you know what I mean? And this show goes deep into some of the other characters that get turned, and I'm like, you turned that guy into a zombie? Like, hard to believe. I don't see it happening, So that to me is kind of like, you know what I mean? I'm here or there on it. So yeah, it was a bit, far-fetched. But again, back in the comic days, because back in the comic books, and spoiler alert if you haven't read those comics back from like 05, 06, at one point they even turned like the Silver Surfer and Galactus into a zombie. And I'm like, I don't know what freaking zombie virus is so powerful that the power cosmic is no good against it, you know what I mean? But again, I guess it was the whole thing, whatever. And then those zombies would talk and they still had their powers and they could do stuff. And I was like, well, if you've got a zombie with the power of the Silver Surfer, I mean, like, well, you're screwed, you know what I mean? Like, also too, I'm like, what's your primary goal? Still just eat brains? Like, it's kind of lame, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying it, you know what I mean? So it's tough, you know what I mean? It was tough for me. But back in What If season 1, again on Disney Plus, the What If season 1 show, they did an episode called Zombies, right? So it was like we saw Spider-Man, we saw Ant-Man, and we saw a lot of cool people. We saw Cap turn into a zombie. Unfortunately, again, I don't buy it. Cap's one of my favorites. I don't see that man easily going down to a zombie or zombies, you know what I mean? Not without taking a whole bunch of them with him first, right? But I guess people loved it because it reignited the love for the zombies from the old series, which again was super hot. I mean, like I remember like it just being everywhere. The main artist was showing up at cons. He was signing those books. That first book was like, because they recreated a lot of classic covers, but they made, but the character was in zombie form. And it was just everywhere, man. And people were just, no pun intended, eating it up. So I was like, all right, not for me. Didn't buy those comics, you know what I mean? But whatever. Saw the episode of What If. I liked it. It was good. You know what I mean? I was like, all right. AMW Collectibles joined via TikTok. Thank you, AMW Collectibles. Please give this video a share on TikTok. Again, we're trying to build our audience here on the TikTok platform. Whatever. Forgive me if you see my eyes darting. I've got the two screens up, so it's not like I should probably have them, closer, but we're working with what we got. So, yeah, so I just was like, all right, you know what I mean? Like that episode was cool. It was fun episode. You know what I mean? You kind of have Peter, and Ant-Man, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, they're like heading into Wakanda to hopefully like figure out a way to thwart these zombies, right? That are massively, powered and all this. And then we find out also that Wanda Maximoff became a zombie again. Reality altering powers, yet you became a zombie. Like, I don't know, kind of tough to buy, but okay, you know what I mean? Like zombie Thanos, I'm like, the Mad Titan's got a lot of power. Kind of tough for me to buy, but okay, I guess. So again, in this series, she is the and again, this is a spoiler filled show, guys. So if you have not seen Marvel Zombies and you don't want it ruined, I'm probably going to talk about some key details. So if you want to click off, I totally understand. I'm gonna spoil the Zombies show for you if you haven't seen it. 4 episodes on Disney Plus. They're all out now. Like 30 minutes each, so 2 hours, and you get a little bit of a series there. So just letting you know before I go into it to get some spoilers here. Real quick, thank you to Myra for joining and Guy for joining us on TikTok. And before that, I will get to some comments from KB. KB says, artwork wise, I love the idea of Marvel Zombies, but to have them be zombies and still have their brain activity to use their powers makes no sense to me, right? It goes against the very essence of the zombie to me. You know what I mean? Like, well, if you're thinking and doing, then like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess you still think and do things, but you just want to eat brains or churn people or whatever. I don't know. I don't buy it. Then KB says, like in What If, when Wanda was using her powers. I don't get it. I am with you, KB. I'm with you. And I'm going to talk about that. CM Cal says, show was pretty fire, but episode 1 was garbage. Yeah, we were left feeling a little flat. Okay, so it starts out with in episode 1 with your primary characters. I'm already kind of like anti this, and there's nothing to do with them being women. These are just 3 characters that I'm not that up on, and it is Kamala Khan, who is voiced by Iman Vellani. I just don't really care for the Ms. Marvel character. she's not my jam. The other one that we have there is Dominique Thorne, who I think is the actress that plays Riri Williams. She revoices the Ironheart character. Yet another character I don't truly care for. And then we have Haley Steinfeld, who I love and think is gorgeous. Loved her in Sinners, loved her in the Hawkeye show, and she's voicing Kate Bishop, and she's back. So they all three reprise their roles and they do their voices, and they're trying to find their own way to deal with the zombie apocalypse. And the Marvel zombies. You know, Hawkeye's a zombie. He's still shooting arrows at him, trick arrows at him. So they've managed to survive. It also falls hard on me to be like, these three survived, but like the best of the best Avengers didn't, like your Hawkeyes and your Captain Americas and your Iron Mans. I'm like, kind of dicey. Now then in episode 2, it toys with some other interesting things that I did like a lot. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, whatever, right? So we've got some other things going on too. We've got okay, so I guess the main big spoiler that if you didn't know and you hadn't heard already, and real quick, I welcome Javier via TikTok. Thank you for joining, Javier. Please share this video. I would really appreciate it. And again, spoilers for Marvel Zombies if you haven't seen it, but this was cool, right? We've heard for a while that Blade was coming, right? You know, but it's supposed to be Mahershala Ali, who was in the Luke Cage show, the Netflix show, whatever, as Copperhead. So it's like, but apparently that's, I don't know, retconned or whatever. And he's you know, we see a Mahershala Ali looking Blade, but with Moon Knight's powers and embodied by Khonshu. And it's not Mahershala Ali's voice, it's someone named Todd Williams. Todd Williams is voicing the Eric Brooks Blade Knight, as what they called him, character. So let me see the other comments here that CM City left. He says, I left 2 other comments. I don't know if you saw them. I don't, CM. I heard you talk about the Deadpool comic and then the well, just what you said there. So I don't know if I'm missing comments in this thing or not. But tell me again, CM Cal, what it was you said there via TikTok. Sorry, guys, I got to turn this way to read. Let's see here. KB says Haley Steinfeld is the main voice of the character Arcane. Just saying. Hey, there it is again, right? KB Arcane. You know what? I got a free weekend. I can't drink any alcohol this weekend, which is my primary, besides podcasting, my primary pastime. So, you know, I plan to just kind of sit and play some Fortnite and veg out and watch TV. So I hopefully will get maybe a couple of episodes in. But let's talk real quick about some other voices that come back and the characters that appear. We get Florence Pugh comes back as Yelena, who plays Yelena. So it's really great that Marvel is really good about getting some of the voice actors to reprise their role. We get David Harbour, who is the Red Guardian. He's back to do his voice. Simu Liu, who is Shang-Chi. He comes back. Awkwafina comes back as Katie Chen from the Shang-Chi movie. So we get them. But Randall Park is Jimmy Woo. He's back. You know, doing the voice of the character. So that really adds to the layers of you know, who they are, right? So, and then of course, you know, the primary character, and I didn't like this too. They don't ever call her the Scarlet Witch in this show. So, you know, I wish they would have called her the Scarlet Witch. They call her still Wanda Maximoff. I'm just like, how does everyone know everyone's name? But they got Elizabeth Olsen, and so that was really cool because, you know, we didn't see like Elizabeth Olsen in Agatha all along. We didn't see, you know, we haven't seen her since, you know, Multiverse of Madness. So this is really cool to get her voice back as this Queen of the Dead, as they're calling her, you know, leading the zombies there. So they even on here, I'm looking at Wiki, and they've got her like as, you know, Wanda Maximoff, Red Queen, Queen of the Dead. So that's all pretty cool. Paul Rudd is back as Scott Lang, Ant-Man. Didn't have a lot to do, but he's back. Tessa Thompson comes back as Valkyrie. I didn't recognize that. F. Murray Abraham, who is the voice from the Moon Knight show of Khonshu, is back. So he's there too. So, I mean, that is really cool. Like all the voices that they got. Wyatt Russell as John Walker is there, also being like a super scrub. Like, you know, you would expect him to be. He's pretty much like a bitch to Zemo, you know what I mean? So I don't know if they got the actor that was Zemo in the movie in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier story here. I'm trying to look here. I don't see it here if he's there. But they did get let me see who else is here. I was curious about who was voicing Spider-Man, and it says it was a guy named, oh no, this guy, Rama Valerie. Rama Valerie is the voice of Zemo in this, so it's not the same actor from that we know from Inglourious Bastards, and of course from the Civil War movie, and then the show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Hudson Thames. Hudson Thames is his name, who voices Peter Parker, Spider-Man. I know we thought he didn't sound too much like Tom Holland, but I guess it's cool because like your character can kind of like be in other formats, even though you're not there. What I heard some people saying about this was that, man, they gave T'Challa like a much better end than they gave him in the movies, and I absolutely agree with that. So if you kind of felt that the T'Challa death was flat in Wakanda Forever, watch this death and like plug that into your brain as maybe how he went out, because man, he goes out like a fucking champ, hero on his shield, no doubt. Let's see, real quick. CM Cal says, I said I wanted my Battle Beast #2 back, and that it's dumb that the Fantastic Four can defeat Doctor Doom, but be bitten by civilian zombies. And then CM Cal says that I am just like John Walker. I disagree. I don't think so. I don't think more like Uncle Ben. Which could go sideways for me. But yeah, with great power does come great responsibility. Just want to remind all of you of that. Let's see here. KB says the only ever referred to Wanda as the Scarlet Witch and WandaVision, correct? At the very end. Yeah, that's I think the only time they ever call her that. And I think maybe they do say it in Multiverse of Madness. I think they do say Scarlet Witch. So, but I had to double check to be sure, but interesting there on that. Let's see. You've got what else? Okay, so basically, again, the plot moves by the fact that the three gals find this device that has supposedly been shrunken by Pym particles, and this will allow them to contact the Nova Corps to come and save the world. That the Nova Corps has the ability to do this. It's kind of thin. The plot as a whole is thin. But you see some cool stuff, right? So in like the second episode, they go to this valley. The world's been decimated, right? Of course, like I said, Blade shows up, right? And the guy's voice sounded Mahershala Ali-ish. So I'm wondering if they're still going to go that way, like live action, or even if that's in the plans or whatever. But yeah, so getting to see that in the first episode, Blade, what do they call him here? The whatever night. Let me see here. It's where is he at? Sorry, I gotta scroll up here, guys. I'm looking on the thing here. Dominic Thorne, let's see, Todd Williams, Blade Knight. They call him Blade Knight. Yeah. So he's got his sword and stuff, but he's also again got Khonshu possessing and whatever. So classic kind of what if type tale, right? Because this story really does take place after the episode of Zombies. So really, it's 4 episodes. But if you want to see the prequel, would be the what if episode called Zombies, then you'd go into these 4 episodes, right? And so they're, again, we know that the other the what if episode ended with Scott Lang, Ant-Man, and Peter Parker going to Wakanda, and then we find out that it was without it didn't bear any fruit what they did or whatever, but it cuts away from that, and then it focuses back on Ironheart, Riri, and Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. So yeah, so again, 3 characters I'm not hugely big on or whatever. If there was one of them that I really cared for, it would have been, the Kate Bishop character, whatever, right? But it really seems like it's a vehicle for Scott Darko in the house. What's up, Scott Darko? Share this one time for me. Kev's collectible spot also in the house on TikTok. Appreciate you guys being here. Share me one time. I would appreciate it. But yeah, and again, we're doing spoilers on Marvel Zombies, so if you haven't seen it, you may want to click off. But if you're okay with it, then listen. And it's mainly try not to go beat by beat, but mainly just talk about the things I liked and didn't like about it. So again, one of the things I didn't like was the characters that kind of chose to move this vehicle. I mean, it's like, all right, they survived, but these more adept heroes didn't. You know what I mean? So for them always having Spider-Man kind of in the mix, which to me was great, right? It's like, well, you don't take out your number one guy, right? Like he's, not the most powerful, but definitely probably the most heart in all the Marvel Universe Spider-Man. So to have him kind of survive throughout was good, I thought. But we're not in a vehicle with him anymore. We're not with him and Scott Lang like we were in the Zombies the Zombies episode of What If. We're forced to listen to again Kamala Khan and Riri and Kate Bishop. So again, not the best. And then they also, there are deaths, you know what I mean? So obviously you're in the zombie world, there are deaths and people have to move on, and then people meet up and team up. So you've got like the Red Guardian and Yelena, I guess like the new Black Widow, they meet up and they're going to help, Kamala Khan on her quest, right? So we get to see Ms. Marvel as a zombie again. They hyped her up as super powerful. Excuse me, Captain Marvel. They hype up Captain Marvel as super powerful, but she ends up being a zombie. So I'm like, well, how are you a zombie if you were so super powerful? You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna? Okay, and she's battling in this valley with some other character. I couldn't really tell who it was. Me and CM Cal thought that it was one of the Eternals, and of course, the Blade Knight guy is telling them like, "Hey, these two are locked in eternal battle. They'll never stop fighting or whatever, because whatever." So they're stuck in eternal battle, and Blade Knight seems like he's pretty powerful. He's kind of helping these ragtag group of people that are got together to get through this zombie apocalypse in order to try to contact the Nova Corps. Again, that's the whole premise, right? And you only got 4 episodes. So let me see here real quick. I want to make sure I'm kind of touching on the main points here. I'm going to run myself down here on the episode breakdown. So let's see. And again, it's all 5 years after the apocalypse has decimated Earth or whatever, you know what I mean? So that things are as bad as they can be, and everyone knows Wanda is this queen of the dead or whatever. She's running the zombies. Her zombies are like Clint Barton, Steve Rogers, and you can kind of tell there's Okoye from the Dora Milaje. She's one of them. You can kind of tell, right, because the zombies that are under Wanda's control get these red eyes, right? So they've got these red eyes that the regular zombies don't have. They're just like dumb regular zombies, and I guess Wanda wants to control one, like well, she wants to control everyone, I guess, but you got to make sure you got the superheroes under your stead, right? Because otherwise they're just like banging around, I guess. CM Cal asks, has DC done anything similar with zombies in the comics or maybe another universe? So CM Cal, the thing that we closest in DC would probably be Blackest Night. In Blackest Night, that story was like a Green Lantern story, and it took place where like a lot of the heroes died or whatever, and then they were like resurrected, like under these. They still had their powers, but they were like in the sense like zombies or whatever. I think somebody was controlling them with like a black ring. I think I don't know the full story, but Blackest Night I think would probably be the closest thing to Marvel zombies that is similar. So check that out. I can get more details on it for you for sure. Again, and you only got 4 episodes here, about 30 minutes each. So by the time we get to episode 2, we see a flashback of Aquafina, who was the friend of Shang-Chi from the movie. So they're back and they're with Jimmy Woo and they're surviving like the zombies attacking them. And then it's kind of like, okay, they've got the 10 rings and they've got the death dealer with them also from the movie. So they're all there hanging out. So again, we're kind of meeting these other heroes that eventually we're going to all converge to help Kamala on this quest to get the Nova Corps there and like, yay, we're going to like destroy the zombies, right? So we think, right? So in episode 2, it's kind of about them. We run into a zombie Namor because they go underwater, and they meet up with Zemo, who's got this ship that can get them to New Asgard, where they got to go, because that's where a spaceship is that you need in order to broadcast a signal to the Nova Corps. You can't get out of you can't broadcast a signal outside from Earth because there was this huge fight, right? When they talk about this great fight, that was like this fight between zombie Thanos, who had the Infinity Gauntlet, and I'm like, how is this for him and Wanda existing at the same time? Because that seems like a hell of a fight. And he's trying to get the last stone or whatever, and he gets the last stone, and he's got all the stones. But apparently, like Wakanda has this like vibranium like core or whatever, and so it's like heated, I guess, like the center of the earth type shit, right? Mountain Doom, right? So they fight, and this is where you get this awesome fucking death of like Thanos. Black Panther like takes him down, boom, and he like tackles him down into this pit, and then when Thanos, the Infinity Stones are destroyed in there, it releases this like cloud of energy, pretty much imagine like an atom bomb, like just going into the sky, and then it kind of covers the earth in this like infinity energy, right? And there's no one there to contain it, and then we find out later on that it's the Hulk. They get the Hulk there. The Hulk is kind of like what we saw Loki as at the end of Loki, so he's kind of like holding all the realities together. Well, it's like the Hulk's doing that, but he's kind of like holding all this. He's like this conduit for all this infinity energy, whatever, right? So I guess it doesn't destroy the planet, which is shit anyway because it's full of zombies, right? So I'm like, whatever. But so it's neat. It's kind of some neat visuals. It's cool there. It's that same animation like from What If. So it's cool. But in their ship, again, Zemo's ship, the unlikely heroes. We've got, again, Shang-Chi, and we've got Red Guardian, and we've got Kamala Khan, and they're gonna go. So they gotta find someone with the ship to get him to New Asgard. That's Zemo. John Walker's there, whatever, and inadvertently the zombies get on the ship because what do we find out? Talokan, aka Atlantis, they have been turned too. I'm like, well, you turned the Atlanteans or whatever, or the Telecanese, whatever you call them. And of course, the big reveal is like, zombie Namor or whatever. He looks badass. He fights badass. Like, I'm like, in my opinion, I'm like, there's no way sure he could beat this zombie Namor. He's kicking much ass, but also too, I'm like, you're so badass, but you still got turned to a zombie, which is kind of lame. So he does his thing or whatever, and only a few of them make it to New Asgard, obviously, as things would go, whatever, and they inadvertently destroy, I think, zombie Namor. So they're on their way or whatever. The classic sacrifice. One of the things that CM Cal had a problem with is he was like, man, I hate when I'm watching something and there's unnecessary sacrifices, and I didn't disagree with them. There was some sacrifices that seemed unnecessary, but I guess that progresses the plot. But then there were some sacrifices that I felt were, you would have done that too. Like, would you have done that? You know what I mean? So, the whole Man of Steel, Superman and his dad thing, you know what I mean? It's like, this death sucks because you just would have saved him. You know what I mean? That's what you would have done. You just would have saved him. So it says here, we have detected inactivity during your current live. It says here, I'm not sure what that is or all that noise, which is kind of weird. So I'm not sure what's up with live, but let me just put it. Thanks for joining. I don't know why it thinks I'm inactive. Again, guys, the TikTok thing is new to me, so it's kind of got its own thing here, and it wants you to do all these weird things. So I have no idea. I don't know. Do you guys use TikTok? And if so, what do you think about it? Is it a viable format? I mean, like, I guess you can't argue with its popularity, right? I mean, but again, we're just trying to be in all the places to do all the things. So yeah. CM Cal says the noise was like, I got sent a gift. Okay, cool. Thank you for whoever sent the gift. I'm sorry that I don't know how to fully recognize that, but that's awesome. Oh yeah, it says 202. I don't know what happened to it. Where are my gifters at here? Again, this is a whole other thing. I get why people that do TikTok focus solely on that, right? Because it's kind of hard to manage the multiples here or whatever. But yeah, real quick, KB says worst sacrifice was Vegeta blowing himself to kill Boo. Damn, yeah. Did that kill him? Did that take Boo out? Maverick77 Defender says, in Eternals, Icarus dies flying into the sun. And in the Marvels, Captain Marvel repairs the sun using her body. Yet in Marvel Zombies, they are at the same strength. Yeah, see, again, there's interesting things there, Maverick Defender. Appreciate you being here. I guess, again, it's like, what are we watching? And we're watching Marvel Zombies, we're watching Marvel. So suspend your disbelief, you know what I mean? So it's fine. I guess I wish maybe they would have, there would have been some more explanation as to why the virus that infects these the Marvel zombies is so potent, you know what I mean? Like, I would imagine that make like a regular human just like explode or something, you know what I mean? But again, we're at this point, I'm 2 episodes in, so we're all committed to we're all systems go, right? So it's not till we get to episode 3 that we see the flashback of the fight I mentioned to you guys with Thanos. This is where we kind of jump back to the zombies episode of What If. We're like, oh, what happened with Scott Lang and Peter Parker? And it's like, oh, okay, here they are. They arrive, and T'Challa. They arrive in Wakanda only to see it's conquered by zombie Thanos. Rocket Raccoon, Thor, and Groot come to fight alongside, kind of a recreation of that scene everyone loves in Infinity War where they just show up. But it's for not, right? Because you've got a zombie powered Infinity Gauntlet wearing Thanos. And yeah, it says Wakanda's vibranium core. So I didn't know that Wakanda had a vibranium core, but apparently it is. And apparently it's powerful enough to destroy Infinity Stones. So that's what happens, or release their energy, whatever it may be. So let's see. It says here, the Asgardians have been feasting on a gift from the Queen of Sokovia, they think, only to find out that it's Wanda herself who's the Queen of Sokovia, and they're eating like zombie remains. It infects the Asgardians, it infects Red Guardian, and then we see a bunch of more deaths here. I won't completely spoil it for you, but spoilers are there. Then it doesn't matter because our heroes, Kamala and whoever's left, they make it to the ship that's going to take them to space, which I think it's just like her and Aquafina and Shang-Chi, I think, that might be left at the end. They're like, okay, we got to the ship, we got to space. And real quick before I get there, let me see. CM Cal says Ms. Marvel did something sick where she put her hand in Namor's mouth and made it like a big spike ball. He says, I wish that Adam Eve would have done something similar in Invincible. Yeah, we've talked about that before, right? Like, Adam Eve's powers, reality bending, and obviously Wanda's powers, reality bending. I think it was, I guess, like CM Cal said, it was Ms. Marvel that took out. Yeah, Ms. Marvel's powers are kind of like Adam Eve's, I guess, whatever, in the show at least, the Disney like cinematic universe, right? She doesn't have like the stretching powers, I guess, that she has in the comics. She can kind of like project this energy, which I thought was like, wow, her powers are really potent because she was fending off a lot of shit throughout this show. I was like, okay, I didn't know that, Ms. Marvel, Kamala was like that powerful. So yeah, but yeah, that was the way she took out Namor. A good pull there, CM Cal. She kind of like, again, puts her hand into his mouth, and then like this energy ball like forms like, and it pretty much explodes his head. So I guess zombies are still vulnerable to stuff like that, energy projection type things. Yeah, CM Cal says much more space for that to be done in a show like that regarding Invincible, and I absolutely agree with them. That would be much better suited there. And then real quick, let's see. Let me getting back over here to some of our comments. KB says Boo can regenerate regarding Vegeta sacrificing himself. So Vegeta blew himself up and didn't know his ability. I take it you haven't watched Dragon Ball Z. See the Frieza saga, KB. I've seen all the way to that and a little bit of the Cell saga, but I got out of it after that because it felt a little bit repetitive to me. Double A is definitely, our normal co-host, Adam is definitely our Dragon Ball Z guy who has stuck with it throughout whatever. You know what I mean? Like no hate on it. It's just after Frieza saga and what I saw of the Cell saga, I was kind of done with it for me. But huge fan base and all due respect to that or whatever. But I do know the Boo character, big pink guy or whatever, right? And I just was like, always like, what's up with this dude? So for me to hear this is kind of cool because I didn't know that. Maverick Devender then says, why didn't Wanda use the Infinity Stones to cure the Earth? Even Thanos tried to save the universe from running out of resources by halving the population. I don't know if this Wanda was already a zombie and like maybe the virus just makes you think about like turning everyone to zombies. It's like this like hive type, I don't know. I forget they talk about, and maybe CM Cal who watched it with me, maybe he can remember. They talk about one hero that got infected, but because of the virus, they weren't able to use their power to do whatever because it just made them think about, I guess, doing zombie shit. I don't even want to say eating brains. I didn't even see him eating that much brains or anything, like just like biting and like doing the zombie shtick. It's like, okay, I've got the power of a god, but I still want to like, bite people. So KB said, my bad, staying on topic. No, KB, do not worry about staying on topic. It would not be a podcast without, veering off. That is what, I am all about hearing what you got to say regarding that. So do not worry about staying on topic. Maverick 77 says, is Wanda an Avenger, the strongest Avenger? She is a criminal in Doctor Strange 2, Marvel Zombies, WandaVision. What if? Yeah, I think I don't know if she's definitely not an Avenger here. She's definitely like her own entity because in this Marvel Zombies, she's like, again, they keep calling her the Queen of the Dead. So she's able to like, I guess they're just like, if you get bit by a regular zombie, you're just kind of like, you're zombieing around. But if Wanda like kind of puts that chaos magic in you, then she can like get you to like, she's controlling you now. So you're still a zombie, but she's in control of you. And again, reality bending powers. I think maybe it's her they mentioned. They were like the zombie like tick that you have or whatever didn't allow her to use her reality powers to like heal everyone. So, but yet she has the ability to make herself appear human to people and like, you know what I'm saying? This is a stretch. You know what I mean? Like this again, I don't really, I never got into the books and I don't know how they were, how it ended, but I'm like, this. It says Wanda is just another glass cannon without a dark hold, giving her a power boost or direct access to the Chthon. Temple giving her a power boost. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, but you need a villain, right? So Frieza Saga is the best in my opinion. Yeah, I did love that one. I was really into it at that time. Good call there. Oh, CM Cal joining us via Facebook now. It says the fact that some of their skin can be penetrated by weak zombie bites, especially Thanos. Yeah, exactly, right? Like what's in their freaking zombie drool or their bite? Like, I mean, I would imagine that a zombie couldn't bite Hulk or Namor. It's like their bodies can't be pierced by bullets. Yet zombie bites, like, do they even have a bite? I would imagine that if I tried to bite like a guy like Namor, who his skin isn't necessarily made out of steel, but he's just much more powerful, that like my freaking jaw would probably break around his body. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting. Let's get this over with. 160, thanks for joining us via TikTok. If you don't mind giving me a share, would really appreciate it. And then let's see here. Maverick says Aubrey Plaza and Agatha all along is the queen of the dead, not Wanda. She's death. I know she's death in Agatha all along. She's like death herself, death incarnate, the living visage of death. But Queen of the Dead, I don't know. And I think they call her Queen of the Dead in this Marvel Zombies because in the Marvel Zombies show, Wanda is the queen of the zombies. So that's her thing. KB then says, in Endgame, Captain America said, Avengers assemble, and everyone was there. So I guess in that case, the whole MCU is an Avenger. Yeah, I know. I felt like that too. I was like, who's the real team here? What's the roster? What's the running roster? Is that like a little badge you get, like a medal, like when a Green Beret gets like a status, or like you're part of a Navy SEAL, you get like a status. So maybe like Avenger is like a status. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting to think about, though. Kelly says maybe it would have worked better if Thanos was stabbed in the neck with a fork. Yeah. Stick a fork in him, he's done. Yeah, maybe so, CM Cal. That would have been different. Would a zombie bite work against Venom? I don't know. Good question, right? Can symbiote become zombie symbiote? Like, they're really reaching, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't dislike zombies or whatever, you know what I mean? But to me, it's like when I'm watching a show like The Walking Dead, right? I'm like, man, these guys are cornered. They're totally screwed. There's no way out. They end up finding a way out, you know what I mean? Like through human methods and all that. But I often think to myself, I'm like, man, if someone like the Punisher was there, just the Punisher, who's just a guy, he'd be mowing down these zombies with guns and like clearing ways and clearing buildings, and like he'd just be badass at clearing. Or someone like Daredevil is going to be able to like take out like a whole horde like easily because of their agility and their moves and their senses. And with someone like Spider-Man, it's like, but yet, Marvel Zombies plays on the premise that they got too, which is like, okay, zombies trump everybody. The dude is joining via TikTok. The dude, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you being here. If you wouldn't mind giving this TikTok a share, this live stream, I'd appreciate it. Maverick says, why do all Ms. Marvel projects flop? Ms. Marvel's show has low views. Her video game flopped. The Marvels flopped. Oh man, I don't know. I just gotta say, Maverick, I didn't watch the Ms. Marvel show. I heard good things. I did watch the Marvels when it was free on Disney Plus, because I just was like, well, it's totally free. I mean, I'll give it a chance. It was not a bad movie. I don't like the Kamala Khan character. I'm not a fan of her. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. It has nothing to do with her being a person of color. None of that stuff. I feel like that character is right for some people. Like that, there is an audience for that character. That's not the character that I want to see like in a Marvel vehicle or whatever. And I also feel like I'm like, are her sales like that? Because I'm like, again, Double A and I have said this numerous times. It's like there are so many other Marvel properties that people want to see. Look at the success of Wolverine and Deadpool. That was something that we wanted to see so long. Wolverine in that outfit, even the Gambit thing going over. It's like, man, these are like your tried and true tested characters. You know what I mean? Like doing the Marvels as a movie, it was like I didn't need that. I didn't even need the original Captain Marvel movie. I was like, that is not a character that I'm down for. I mean, it's like there are so many of the elite Marvel characters. I mean, like when you talk about Spider-Man, you talk about the X-Men, you talk about the Hulk, you talk about, well, Iron Man got elevated because of the movies, but yeah, Iron Man, the Avengers, Cap. I mean, it's like, Daredevil. Did I say Daredevil? I mean, like you can go Ghost Rider, like Spirits of Vengeance, the Punisher. I mean, these guys have had multiple movies, so it's kind of right there or whatever, but they like end up kind of branching off into these other characters, and then they're like, oh man, it flopped. And I'm like, well, you're not hitting the bread and butter. Like you're not hitting like the bigs. I mean, like, do you see DC getting away from Batman and Superman? Do you see DC getting away from the Justice League? And again, some people criticize them for that because they say, well, man, you just keep going to the well over and over again. But hey, I mean, like those movies end up making like hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you got to reboot things all the time, but here's what I think. What they did with the Avengers, how they built that out over 10 years, you could have had it maybe end with Endgame, right? It seemed like a nice way to wrap things up, nice little bow on it. Avengers. Okay. Well, then in that time frame, as Marvel's like building itself up with like, what some people could say, I mean, like again, you start with Iron Man, right? And Robert Downey Jr. crushes it, but he becomes an A-list hero out of a C-list hero. Wasn't nobody reading Iron Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, a very small number. That's not a top-selling book at Marvel for whatever. Now Iron Man is like everybody's guy, right? And he earned his way up there. Now, mind you, I've always said he was part of the big three of the Avengers. Him, Thor, and Cap. You don't have an Avengers team without them. So, okay, they did that, right? They're like, hey, we're going to work with what we got. We don't have Spider-Man. We don't have the X-Men. So in the time that Marvel built this up and they give us this beautiful, like amazing 10-year story that culminates in like the most awesome way, Avengers assemble, you know what I mean? Like, Cap fighting Thanos, the theaters cheering. I mean, like, man, what they should have done was kind of been like, okay, now we're going to like put this to rest. You know what I mean? Like, instead of keep saying, we got to keep making Avengers movies, you could have kind of continued maybe with the shows and built up some of the side characters, your Anthony Mackie's as Sam Wilson and your Bucky Barnes. Is keep doing that. It's cool. You know what I mean? Like, work on your street level heroes like they kind of started to do. We got Daredevil, stuff like that, right? But don't be trying to build another like 10-year arc with those same characters or even the same name. Now introduce us to like the X-Men, right? Maybe you do like 1, 2, 3 movies, right? Maybe you do like a Wolverine movie, a Magneto movie, and I don't know, whatever, like a regular X-Men movie. And then you build again. You start another 10 years where you build this story where it all culminates in this like big, I don't know, whatever, like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants versus the X-Men or whatever. And you can have those side characters like show up, you know what I mean? Like, the ones from the shows or whatever. I mean, like they'd already got the formula down or whatever, but the thing was they couldn't get away from, from the same characters. You're going to the Avengers again. Like, we've still got Avengers Doomsday coming up, Avengers, Secret Wars coming up. It's like, okay, well, you're still all based around the Avengers. You know what I mean? It's like, but you don't even have your main Avengers anymore. So it's a lot. Give me a second, guys, for a drink of water, and I'll get some comments here. A lot of them coming through. Thank y'all for hanging out. Thank y'all for joining. Let me see here. Lots of comments again. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you're joining us via TikTok, thank you. Share the video. Let us know. So yeah, let's see here. KB says, they were talking about the Venom bite. Then that's kind of that was my rant, Maverick, on the Ms. Marvel things. He says Captain Marvel had yellow eyes, so she was not controlled by Wanda. I don't know. I felt like she was a zombie, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was like a conflict of her own powers. But either way, she was locked in that battle with, I guess, like you said, it was Icarus, I guess. They were just fighting in the sky. So, whether she was controlled by Wanda or not, it didn't seem like she mattered because she was stuck in that situation. CM Cal says, I was joking about Thanos from Squid Game. Not sure if you got the joke. A good joke doesn't need to be explained, Pops, but I did slip on that one. So yeah, good call there. Good callback to our Squid Game episode. I like it. Maverick says, can the MCU still make money without $1 million cameos in their movies? Cameo fests, nostalgia bait, member berries. Yeah, I think so. I think absolutely the MCU can still make money. You know how? You focus on the X-Men. I'm like, you give the people the next big thing. It's like, Hulk hasn't been touched in a while. Hulk, give us the Future Imperfect story. Give us, the Maestro. I think people will line up for that. You're doing the wrong stories. You could have been building X-Men movies the way they built up Avengers movies and led to. You could have just done You could have done an X-Men trilogy, and you could have built to like the Phoenix Saga. You could have built to, Days of Future Past. You could have built to any of those. Yeah, I know they've been touched on in the past, but they weren't done right. So to do them right, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's right there. Look at the success of X-Men 97. X-Men 97, you put something like that on the big screen and it's going to make tons of money. Age of Apocalypse. We got a glimpse of Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. People went nuts for it. Give us the Age of Apocalypse story. Give us the Legion's Quest story. Give us the Fatal Attraction story on live action. Marvel will make money. They will make money. Right now, they're just like sidetracked by a lot of these People keep talking about Squirrel Girl. I'm like, dude, no one gives a shit about Squirrel Girl. I don't. I know she probably has her fans, but I'm like all they need to do is look at what has sold for them and look at what has been successful for them in the past in the realm of the comic book world. What they did, what they created with the Avengers and Iron Man and all that was probably like a once in a lifetime thing. So now it's like, okay, now let's, you kind of follow the trend in a sense, but go another way. I also thought it was a mistake for them to steer away from Kang. You know what I mean? It was like, they could have just recast, kept that going. You save Doom until you're really ready. You know what I mean? Like, again, the story was getting a little bit lost in the sauce, but there was ways they could have gone about that. They definitely could have, done Wakanda Forever better. I mean, there were ways to do that. I think, tighten it up. So, I mean, yeah, there's ways to make money. I don't think there ever will not be at this point a way for them not to make money. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has become one of those things that is like, it's a machine unto itself. You know what I mean? Like, again, Disney Plus, I mean, I would say that with the acquiring of Star Wars, it's like Disney Plus exists because of Marvel and Star Wars. So it's like, there will always be a vehicle to make money. You know what I mean? Again, but you've got to tell the stories that people want to see and want to hear. Otherwise, you won't ever get there. Maverick says the X3 MCU movies to make more than 900 million post Endgame were all cameo fest and nostalgia bait member Barry movies. Yeah, I mean, I guess, again, people can say what they want about, Infinity War, Endgame. It had enough stuff in there though that I think that made it unto itself, made it unique and made it special. But yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of flashback. You're re-seeing all the old things, whatever, you know what I mean? But hey, nostalgia sells, right? That's why a lot of us are here. I mean, it's like, that's, what original stories are there? You know what I mean? You've got an original story like the HBO Max Watchmen show, right? But a lot of people didn't watch it. I mean, it was one season. You know what I mean? It was like, epic storytelling. You know what I mean? Like, it was amazing. Same thing with Andor. But you're only going to be able to get that kind of storytelling in a format like that. To try to push that into a movie or build it into movies, I don't know that audiences have the attention span necessarily for that anymore. So but you've got to kind of give them, a Deadpool Wolverine type movie where you're revving up to something bigger. You know what I mean? So but again too, it doesn't have to just be random cameos. You can make the cameo work within the story. You know what I mean? So how do you do that? Now you've got to craft that into the thing you're trying to build. So good comments. I appreciate that. KB says if they made all these characters do things that is better than a PG rating, I think they would make more people interested with the character. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you got to also do that too. Now you've got to cater. Your audience has gotten older, right? So what do they want to see, right? I mean, like even the X-Men 97 cartoon kind of touched on some things, and it's a cartoon. Anytime it's a cartoon that's got superheroes, kids are going to inadvertently watch it, right? So how do you deal with that, right? You've got to figure out that. Julian, thank you for joining via TikTok. Appreciate it. How do you figure out what the best way to do that is? You know what I mean? Like, you've got a character like Deadpool. Okay. Maybe you kind of go the way they did with the comics where they said, okay, we've got like the Marvel Knights, right? Like Daredevil was in the Marvel Knights. Punisher was in the Marvel Knights. I think it was Moon Knight, and then there was some other fourth one. Or when they did the Marvel Max series, it was Punisher, Alias, there were two other, Luke Cage, and then there was another one, right? That was like the Marvel rated R, right? There was sex, there was blood, there was violence. I mean, it's like, so, yeah, I mean, I think so, but it's got to be the right character. I mean, like, you don't want to make a rated R Spider-Man movie. I mean, like, that's shooting yourself in the foot because kids are going to line up for that. But you make a rated R Punisher movie, you might have something there. You know what I mean? Like, it might be interesting to see. You know what I mean? I would definitely be, all for it, KB. KB also says via YouTube, like if they made Ms. Marvel, might people with the same brutality as the Daredevil show, I think they would get more viewers from the characters they were trying to push. I hear what you're saying, KB, but then are we bordering on Snyder versus Wonder Woman, right? Like in the Snyder cut when she slams that guy against the wall so hard that like his brains spill out. Now, mind you, I've never not known Diana to kill. So I think that Wonder Woman, I mean, she's an Amazonian warrior, right? So the killing should be like definitely in her purview, right? I mean, but again, she's a superhero and that's not really what she does. I could see people like Batman and Superman having conversations with her that are along the lines of like, hey, like, we're here to represent something, like getting through to her and her not having to kill unnecessarily. Like in the Snyder cut movie, that was like, to me, an unnecessary kill. You know what I mean? Like she could have just rounded them up, but she literally like, does what Hulk does to Loki in Avengers, the first one, and like slams him into the wall. Like, I mean, his brain and his head just like like, and again, I mean, I guess that's meant to show, the Snyderverse was meant to show like these heroes aren't fucking around, right? So to me, that's lending into the you're leaning into like the Kingdom Come type superheroes, but with the heroes that we love. So I don't know that you want beloved heroes to be like that. So that's interesting. But again, Ms. Marvel isn't one like that. So maybe she could be more violent. I mean, maybe that is something that to be, potentially toyed with. Let's see. Real quick here. Maverick Defender then says phase 4 and 5 of the MCU is game of cameos. There are more cameos in your movie than the more money you make. Well, but isn't making money the name of the game? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, it's, I liked seeing Gambit. I liked seeing Blade Return. I liked seeing Elektra in Deadpool Wolverine. Obviously you could say No Way Home. It was, people knew that the other Spideys were going to come out, and that was a big selling point to it. You know what I mean? So, but again, the nostalgia sells. I mean, like, that's why the people were there. I thought the stories were still good, though. It wasn't like they just popped up and, popped in and popped out. You know what I mean? So, to me, it's fine. It works. You know what I mean? Like, again, they're a business, man. So they're going to be in it to make the bucks. You know what I mean? Maverick then says, if the Marvels had the same amount of cameos as Deadpool 3 or Doctor Strange 2 or Spider-Man No Way Home, it would have made $2 billion at the box office. Possibly. Yeah, possibly, depending on who those characters are and what capacity that they're showing up. You know what I mean? So, I mean, She-Hulk had the Incredible Hulk, and it still wasn't, like everything we thought it could be. Real quick, TikTok Jose, thank you for joining in. Jody Ann, Raquel, Mariano, we appreciate you guys all being here via TikTok. Share this video one time for me. I would appreciate it. Then Maverick says, if the X-Men were in the main part of the Marvels and not just the post-credits, it would have made $2 billion at the box office. Possibly people would probably go to see an X-Men cameo, maybe. Phase 4 and 5 of the MCU are just going to get the more cameos. We got that one from earlier. And then he says here, the last two Deadpool movies didn't make $1 billion because they didn't have so many big cameos like Blade, etc. with the Spider-Man No Way Home big cameos. Yeah, but again, too, I mean, it's like, if you've got the properties and you've got the rights to use the characters, I mean, like, hey, why not go whole hog? You know what I mean? He says all the phase 4 or 5 movies that flopped had no cameos, very few small cameos. Yeah, again, you want to build on storytelling and not just relying on that. But again, too, I mean, I think there's different ways to go about that, especially with the TV kind of tying in. Which actress is a new Wonder Woman? I'm not sure if they've already cast a new Wonder Woman. I haven't heard anything, but I'm sure that one is coming. Which movie was better, Wonder Woman 84 or Wonder Woman 1984 or The Marvels or Black Widow? Oof. I would say out of those movies, Black Widow was the best movie. Oh, wait, no, Wonder Woman, the regular Wonder Woman, not the Wonder Woman 84. And then Black Widow, and then probably The Marvels, and then Wonder Woman 84, because I did not like that one. Real quick, Maverick says Fantastic Four Rise of the Sorcerer is better than First Steps. I like the Silver Surfer better a lot. I love Lawrence Fishburne Silver Surfer and that one. His lines, his voice. I love Doug Jones as the body movement. So I'll definitely agree with you there. That Doctor Doom is just not good, though. You know what I mean? So there's that. You know what I mean? And then the way that they kind of screwed his powers up by having it be reliant on the board is not true to the character, the Silver Surfer that I know and love. So, I mean, it's better than the first Fantastic Four movie. I'll say that about it. Interesting insights there, Maverick. KB says people's expectations are too high, and that's why some of these movies are not doing as good as they should. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, everyone wants the next Endgame or the next Infinity War. If you like that one better, you know what I mean? Like, people say Infinity War was the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel universe, right? So people want that, right? Like, everyone dies and it's a bummer at the end, and then what? But these stories you have to come full circle, right? You have to like close the gap, right? So you got to see what's next. You know what I mean? That's part of the storytelling. You know what I mean? So would I have done what they did in Endgame with the going back to the various spots? Probably not. That's not how I would have done it, to collect the stones. But again, it was a vehicle to move that along. So that's what happened. KB says, like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, people weren't expecting so many characters to be in it, but they weren't. And then people say that the movie was shit. I actually liked it a lot. That's what KB says via YouTube, for those of you watching on TikTok. Charles joins via TikTok. Thank you so much, Charles. Yeah, I get it, KB. I think people did have a lot of expectations for Multiverse of Madness. What I saw, I liked. You know what I mean? Like, obviously the Reed Richards that we did get, was cool. You know, I mean, for me, Professor X was insane. You know what I mean? Like that was so cool. And live action Captain Carter. I mean, like that was pretty cool. So, I liked what I got. Was it the best movie? No, I didn't love, how Wanda was the bad guy, and I kind of agreed with her on some of the things she said in the movie. So, again, too, like I felt like where does that story fit in really? What I wanted to see was them kind of like, use Benedict Cumberbatch and establish him as going to be like the kind of new leader of these Avengers and whatever this next class of heroes that was going to come up was going to be. But that's kind of not what they did. So, yeah, not a great movie, but to me, not a terrible movie. I think I own it, you know what I mean? But I haven't been back to revisit. If I don't own it, then it's probably time for me to revisit it and see it again. Or sometimes in time things age and they get better, right? You're like, oh, look at Man of Steel. Man of Steel was like kind of like universally hated, and then like after years, it was like people came back and were like, man, that was a great movie, and it is. Man of Steel is a really good movie. So that's interesting, and that leads right into Maverick's coming, which is the best Superman movie, 1978. For me, yeah, I'm an older person, so you know what I mean. I'm 44, so yeah, for me, Christopher Reeve 78 Superman is the best, and that's it. It does have cheesy parts, man. I hate that Lois Lane inner monologue when they're flying, but just about I hate that Lex is kind of, they make him more of this criminal, more focused on crime than like the crime of the century than he is about being like this scientist and businessman. You know what I mean? Like that's not like the Lex that I knew, but I think they were like borrowing from older stuff. So, but overall, I think that it is, probably is my favorite Superman movie. The original 1978 Superman, but this 2025 one I thought was really cool. I like Man of Steel. I'm a huge Superman is my favorite superhero, so I will kind of always be in line for a Superman movie and most likely enjoy to be able to take away the good things from it. So, best Batman 89 Michael Keaton. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's the one I probably like the best, but trilogy wise, I mean, you can't argue with Christopher Nolan's. I think it's great storytelling. I mean, I can watch the end of that. It works as a trilogy, and trilogy wise, it's hard to beat. You know what I mean? Like, the Nolan Batman is really good. Best Joker, Nicholson, Joaquin Phoenix. Tough. I mean, Ledger's not in. You didn't put Ledger in there, but I mean, I guess I would say. I mean, Keith was really good, but Jack is. I feel like they each represent a different version of the Joker. You know what I mean? Because that first movie with Joaquin Phoenix, I love too. You know what I mean? Like, but they each kind of represent a different version of the Joker. I'm trying to think who maybe embodies the Joker the most. But again, it's like, it's kind of like when you've got the three Joker story, right? There's like the criminal, the gangster, I think, and the comedian, and we've seen the Joker like three different ways kind of in the comic book. So it makes you wonder like which one is which. And I like to think back like to the Joker that is the Joker in the Death in the Family story, right? With the Jason Todd, Robin, gets killed with a crowbar. Which Joker would have done that live action best? It probably would have been Heath Ledger. So maybe that is the best Joker. But maybe someone will step up to the plate. Maybe it could be somebody else that comes in there. Maverick asked, do I like the Boys TV show? We love the Boys TV show here at Just Another Friday Night, Maverick. If you go back, we've covered probably every season. We're huge fans of the Boys. You definitely go back and check out those older episodes there. Smallville, second best live action Superman. I liked it a lot. We covered it. We have covered it on this show. You go back and check out our Smallville episode. If my co-host Double A was here, he would probably agree with you that is the best. Second best live action is Tom Welling in Smallville. But again, for me, I don't know. It's hard. When I think about shows, again, I really love Tyler Hoechlin in the Superman and Lois show. I know it's fairly new. I know it's only 4 seasons, but it's really strong. And it has by far one of the best and most beautiful endings of a series I've ever seen. Very poetic, worth the watch. Great questions, Maverick. Really appreciate you chiming in. Dean Cain is Japanese, right? The 90s Superman his real name is I don't know. I do not know anything about that. I did watch the New Adventures of Lois and Clark. I did watch that. I loved it when I was much younger when it was on the air, but I know nothing about really his background of Dean Cain. That it says, I want to hear what everyone thinks the worst Superman is. Yeah, it may have been what we just heard up there right now, especially given the current climate, but who knows, right? Tayfun Demir is the worst Superman. I do not know who that is either. That's a new one. Yeah. Oh, Turkish Superman made millions in the US box office. Wow. That's interesting. You guys were right on that, huh? So yeah, there we go. I'll have to go look that up myself. Great stuff, guys. Thank you guys for being so active in the chat. I really appreciate it. I want to just welcome real quick. Josie loves Jose loves to eat. Excuse me, Jose. Via TikTok. Jose, if you don't mind, if you're not busy loving eating right now, maybe you share this video one time. We'd appreciate it. So thank you guys again, all of you, for joining. Kind of all that to get back to Marvel Zombies, right? You know what I mean? So, that's a good segue. Eating, then segue zombies. Yeah, so we find out, again, huge spoilers here if you haven't seen it yet, that the Nova Corps is very well aware that there are a bunch of zombies on this planet and they're not going to let them off. So they're just basically in quarantine. Kamala Khan's whole quest throughout these 3 episodes was for naught. She's like, dang it, what do we do now? We got to go back to Earth. And it's like Wanda is like fully in control of her powers, and it kind of ends on a dour note, you know what I mean? So it says here, let me real quick, it says the Infinity Stones are being contained by Infinity Hulk. Wanda arrives, enough zombies to defeat him, takes the Infinity Stones herself. So now we've got a Wanda with Infinity Stones, right? A bunch of folks die. So you're kind of like, dang it, that character grew on me and now they're gone. And it's like, well, now what? You know what I mean? We even get to see a zombie Thor, which again is like, the guy's a god, right? You know what I mean? So then Wanda is trying to persuade Kamala to help her or whatever. That's what she wants. And then it says Kamala wakes up with Riri and Kate. Things have gone back to normal. However, reality is flickering, and Riri tells Kamala that she has hacked the system and what she is seeing is not real. So that's kind of where it ends, right? Is that like, she's not in her real reality. She kind of takes the hand of Kamala takes the hand of the Queen of the Dead, you know what I mean? Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, whatever. And she's saying like, hey, like, I guess fuck it, you know what I mean? So, but I think the deal is kind of like, she's like, we're going to reshape the world, yada, yada, yada. So she thinks it's going to be all better. And initially it seems that way, only to realize it's still this barren wasteland and things are all screwed up. So I don't know. I feel like it leaves it open-ended because they want to do a season 2. This one wasn't that strong. I haven't heard many people talking about it. It's perfect for spooky season. I mean, you kick off, October with zombies, but, again, I'm like, it wasn't the tightest storytelling, so it just left a little bit to be desired, I think, and there could have been more there. So I'm interested to see, what will happen next with it. If they do a season 2 and it's also 4 episodes, I mean, like, I may check it out. I haven't heard anything. Again, like I said, I asked a few people to if they wanted to jump on and co-host that I know watch all the Marvel stuff. They had not seen it yet, so I guess it wasn't high on people's radar to check it out. So. And that's interesting too. You would think that, everyone's trying to get on it, Ricardo's F-150 is in the house via TikTok. Thank you for joining, Ricardo's. And let me get back to some comments here for you guys before we take it out for the night, because that's it. That was it. Marvel Zombies was 4 episodes. Again, about 2 hours of your time, and maybe 2.5 if you add in the Zombies episode from What If. A fine, okay watch for Halloween, you know what I mean? I guess for the October season or whatever. But again, if it's kind of low on your list and you've got, other things to watch, I mean, I wouldn't be like, dude, stop what you're doing and go watch Marvel Zombies. I'm not saying that. Someone will take that snippet and say that I said that. So yeah, it's very interesting. Let's see here. It says, Maverick says the OG Spider-Man, Nicholas Hammond from the 70s, is still younger than most of the Avengers Doomsday cast. I didn't know that. Yeah, that was a cool show. I remember seeing that, like, the live action. And I was like, wow, it's like, looks crazy. It says he is 75 versus 82 Avengers Doomsday cast. Interesting. And he says we've had X3 or times 3 House of M now. WandaVision has a mini House of M. Agatha all along has a mini House of M. Marvel Zombies. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. You know what I mean? no saying no more mutants though. So we didn't get that part. The Maverick says no more House of M's, please. Okay, and then he says I would like to see a Marvel symbiote story instead of zombies. Just replace it with symbiotes. I think it would make the most money. Breaks records. Probably people love symbiotes, man. They are huge. Just like in the Web of Shadows game. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about that game storyline. He says, do you like the Invincible TV show? Love the Invincible TV show, Maverick. Go back and check out our episodes covering that. Now that's storytelling right there. Absolutely top of the line right there. So go check it out. Yeah, that's kind of all I got, guys, from Marvel Zombies. I appreciate all of you being here, joining the conversation, talking zombies with me, amongst other things, right? As podcasts do, they tend to go the way of sidetracking, you know what I mean? But it wouldn't be a podcast without. If you guys haven't already, please go check out our website, www. What's that anymore? Just check out justanotherfridaynight.com. That takes you right to our link tree where all of our socials are. I would love for you to subscribe to all of them, to hit the like button on all of them, to subscribe to us on YouTube. That would mean the world to me. I would really appreciate it. Oh, wait, here we go. Here's a great special guest. Valerie in the house says hi from her and Grace, and hello to you two. Both you, hope you both are doing well and feeling better and getting well. That would be just great to see you guys soon. Thanks so much for popping in. Pedro Lopez says, thanks. Of course, Pedro, thank you for being here. Thanks for the questions and the comments. Toy Mafia, thank you for the questions and the comments too. Again, guys, go check out justanotherfridaynight.com. That's the website to get to all the socials. We'd appreciate you being there. And again, if you haven't already, join the Facebook group. It's a lot of fun. Again, if you join, you're automatically a Friday Nighter. We consider you a member of the Friday Night Faithful. And if you want swag, I got swag. I got coasters now. I got stuff around here somewhere. You know what I mean? So, you want stuff, you know what I mean? Like, message us, DM us, send me a screenshot that you've subbed, and I can get you some coasters. I can get you a sticker. I can get you a sweet button. Look at this. No, magnet. It's a magnet. Sweet magnet right here. Look at that. Shiny, right? Yeah, so you let me know. Do that for me. Go follow us on all these places: YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe, like, follow, share, whatever it asks you to do. That would mean the world to us. And we're happy to give you some free swag. Happy to, our good friend KB is about to find out. He's about to learn. He's about to learn what we do here, how we do it. You know what I mean? So he's got to have his eyes on the mailbox. So check, be checking the mail, KB. We appreciate you real quick. And yeah, before I get out of here, I'll take on Maverick's comment here. He says, do you prefer when superheroes are not Boy Scouts, but rather like real in The Boys, Invincible, Zack Snyder, Twilight of the Gods? It depends. It depends on the hero, right? I mean, my Punisher, I want him to be an anti-hero because he's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? Like someone like Invincible clearly is excuse me, not Invincible, but like Omni-Man. I mean, like, villainous tendencies. I mean, like, that's tough. You know what I mean? Right? Like, but Captain America's got to be a Boy Scout. Superman's got to be a Boy Scout. That's what they've got to be. I mean, Wolverine, definitely anti-hero. I mean, like, he has no qualms about killing it. I mean, and I'm a huge Wolverine fan. I mean, I love Wolverine. I love the Punisher, love Ghost Rider. We'll all kind of walk that line, you know what I mean? But, hell, like I said, even Invincible, I mean, like, it is, he kills when he has to, you know what I mean? And he has killed. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's an interesting take to say that makes someone a hero or whatever. What do I prefer? Well, I prefer that we all try to strive and try to achieve to be, what a Superman is or a Captain America is. Not always realistic, you know what I mean? Like someone like Batman, obviously a vigilante, walks the line, Spider-Man walks that line or whatever, you know what I mean? Like they have no kill rules, which is, good, you know what I mean? But then you have to ask yourself, at what cost, right? At what cost, that someone is out there like the Joker, committing, mass murders, and you're not kind of solving the problem, you know what I mean? So how many times are you gonna let him escape, Batman? You know what I mean? So how many people close to you have to be, injured or traumatized by this guy's madness, you know what I mean? So it starts to it's a fine line. It's a fine line. So interesting. It says here, KB also says, it says OG superheroes were in the Bible for 6,000 years ago, and the Nephilim were the first ever superheroes, and they were like the boys and Invincibles. Oh, all right. So that eye for an eye stuff there, that's interesting, an interesting take. You know, if you send me a couple of stickers, I'll post them on some of the super popular restaurants by my house. Nice. Trying to spread the word. I appreciate that, KB. Jambo on that, baby. Yeah, very nice. And then Maverick says, the Amazons. Oh, okay. I did not know that. That's interesting. Thanks. Yeah, man. Absolutely, KB. No problem. I definitely want to see you. I know you say don't use the socials that much, but post it. You know, show it somewhere. We'd love to see it and represent you doing so. It says Maverick says in real life, if someone had the power of Superman, they would be evil. Well, you'd like to think not. I would hope not. I would hope that whoever would be blessed or endowed with such a power like that would use it for good. But yeah, I mean, we've seen in the past what people do when they have power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, they say. So I mean, look, we want to hope against hope that the best will come out of it, and that's why maybe that's why that we don't have those things. You know what I mean? KB says, have a great night, man. You did a great job hosting. Thank you so much, KB. I haven't done a solo in a while, so tough on the voice, but happy to be here. And again, I want to thank all the people that joined via TikTok. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. Thanks for talking Marvel Zombies with me. It's been a blast. I hopefully be back next week with Double A, or for sure I should, because we have a special guest on here, a comic creator that has his own comic book about Halloween. So we're hoping to talk with him next week. And I hope he's feeling better, and we'll do that. I'll say congratulations to the New York Yankees. I want to show off some of my cool Yankees gear from my brother-in-law Anthony got me when he was in New York. You know what I mean? The Judge baseball. You know what I mean? So very cool. The Yankees, advanced past the Red Sox. So that is pretty awesome. Let me see here what else I got here. I gotta have to send him this clip in here. This great bat keychain, all the way from New York, all the way from Yankee Stadium. So you gotta love that. Is that it? I thought I had one more thing here that he gave me. I may have to find it. I may have to show you guys next time. But yeah, Anthony, thank you so much for this. It was a long time coming for me to show them, but I wanted to do it when the Yankees were winning and we could talk about them. You know what I mean? But of course, the Judge. You know what I mean? Gotta love the Judge, man, Aaron Judge. So thank you for those awesome things, man. I love them. I truly love them. I'll keep them right here on my desk next to me all the time. What else? Let's see here before we go. Let's see. Maverick says, cheers, Maverick. Thanks so much for joining, man. Great comments. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And yeah, you're welcome for the stream, man. Anytime. Come and join us again next week. We'll do it again. You know what I mean? We love having all the interaction and everyone here. All right, guys. Well, something we like to say at the end of every show, something we like to remind everyone of is that if there's something that you want to do, something that you want to accomplish, a hope or a dream, go out and do it. There's no time like the present, guys. Seize the day, right? Carpe diem. That's what we like to say, guys. Comes from one of, obviously old Latin phrase, but we like it from the movie Dead Poet Society, Double A and I. And the other thing we like to do is to remind you, as the great Captain Steve Rogers says in Endgame, before the Avengers go back on the time heist, he reminds them that they must do whatever it takes, guys. So we invite you also to do whatever it takes within reason, within the law. You know what I mean? But seize the day, guys. Do whatever it takes. And like Pedro Lopez says, good journey. Good journey, guys. We love you here at Just Another Friday Night. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Treat each other with kindness and love. And we'll see you guys next week. Good night.